Welcome to our user's guide to the modern state. Now, have you ever really stopped to think about why the world is carved up into all these different countries? I mean, it seems totally natural, right? Like it's always been this way. But here's the thing, it's not. It's actually a human invention. Today, we're going to unpack the blueprint for our entire world.
Now seriously, just picture a world map in your head. It's this like patchwork quilt of countries, right? Each one has its own color on the map, its own government, its own set of rules. So the big question is, why? Why this system? Why these neat little, well, sometimes not so neat, borders dividing everybody up? Where in the world did this idea come from?
Well, the answer is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. It's an invention. A really, really powerful idea that has shaped, well, everything. Centuries of history, war, peace, you name it. And that powerful idea is the modern state. You can literally think of it as the operating system for planet Earth.
Okay, so what is a state, anyway? Before we dive any deeper, we've got to clear something up. Because, we throw words around like state and nation all the time, and we kind of use them to mean the same thing. But in the world of politics and international relations, nope, they mean very, very different things.
So let's break this down because it's super important. On one side, you've got the state. Think of this as the hardware. It's the physical box, right? The territory, the borders, the government, the laws. It's a legal thing. Then, on the other side, you have the nation. This is the software. It's the people, a group with a shared culture, language, history, a shared identity. It's a cultural thing. Now, the magic happens. The real goal of this whole system is when you get those two things to line up perfectly. When the hardware and the software match, that's when you get what we call a nation-state.
All right, so what are the state's core ingredients? What's baked into the DNA of every modern state? Well, it really boils down to three absolutely crucial ideas. Think of them as the three pillars holding this whole thing up.
First up, you've got territoriality. Now, this sounds kind of simple, but it was a revolutionary idea. It just means that a state's power is tied to a physical chunk of land. It's got a border, and everything and everyone inside that border falls under its rules. That's its jurisdiction. What happens inside that box is its business, and nobody else's.
Okay, next up is sovereignty. And honestly, this is the big one. It's kind of got two parts. Internally, it means the state is the ultimate boss. It has the final say over its citizens. But externally, it means the state is the captain of its own ship. No other country gets to steer. It's independent. And, at least in theory, that makes it equal to every other state out there on the world stage.
And the final ingredient is nationalism. So if territory is the box and sovereignty is the power, well, nationalism is the glue that holds all the people inside the box together. It's that psychological feeling, that bond of a shared identity, that feeling of we-ness. That's what gives the state its real power and makes people feel like they belong to it. It's what turns a legal entity into a living, breathing nation-state.
So that's the what. But what about the how? I mean, where did this whole system come from? It definitely wasn't always this way. Let's jump in our time machine for a quick origin story to see how the modern state was basically born from the fire and chaos of European history.
Okay, so our story really kicks off in 1648. You've got the Treaty of Westphalia, which ended these incredibly bloody religious wars in Europe. And the big idea they came up with was simple. Hey, every prince gets to be the boss in his own territory. That's the seat of sovereignty right there. Then let's fast forward to 1815. Napoleon has just torn up the map of Europe, and the big powers get together at the Congress of Vienna to basically put it all back together, reinforcing this state-based system. Jump ahead another 100 years to 1919, after World War I. A new idea is in the air, national self-determination. The thinking is that groups of people who see themselves as a nation should get their own state. And finally, after World War II, this system goes totally global. Empires crumble, and dozens of new, independent states pop up all over Asia and Africa.
Okay, so now we know what a state is, and we have a rough idea of where it came from. But the real question is, how does it behave? If we were to imagine a state as a person walking around on the world stage, what would its personality be like?
Well, it's got a pretty unique personality, that's for sure. For starters, it insists on having a monopoly, the only legitimate right to use force inside its borders. Think about it. Only the government has police and an army. Second, it tends to see itself as this solitary, self-contained unit. It doesn't really have to explain itself to anyone else. It's its own justification. Third, it acts like a total free agent, always trying to get more freedom for itself and protect the freedom it already has. And finally, and this is a big one, it gets to be the ultimate judge of its own moral code. What's right or wrong is basically determined by what's good for the state.
Wow, okay. That sounds pretty intense, doesn't it? A solitary, self-justifying actor that decides its own morality? So does that mean the state is all-powerful, that it can just do whatever it wants? Well, not exactly. There are some pretty big checks on its power.
See, no state, not even the most powerful one, exists in a total vacuum. There are all these external forces pushing back. You've got things like international law, right? And then there's international morality and world public opinion, basically what the rest of the world thinks. You've got collective security arrangements and huge international organizations, and of course, there's the massive, terrifying fear of a nuclear war. All of these things act like guardrails, keeping states from veering too far off the road.
And yet, even with all those checks and balances, the state system is incredibly tough. It's resilient. As the political scientist Benjamin Axon put it, nations are here to stay. And he's probably right. For the foreseeable future, the state is still the main character in the story of world politics. It's the #1 way we human beings organize ourselves on this planet.
And that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? In our world today, our biggest problems, we're talking pandemics, climate change, huge economic crises, these things don't care about borders. They just cross right over them. So, is a system that's built on drawing lines on a map, a system built on separate sovereign states, still the best way to handle these global challenges? Is this powerful 400-year-old idea really built to last in the 21st century? That's the real cliffhanger, and something for all of us to think about.